Matt Mayoko.
There it is.
Very respected reporter.
Yeah.
Paisan, I believe.
Maybe.
Seems possible just based on
Mayoko.
initial glance.
Well said,
Your
actually.
deduction.
But, has covered the Niners for 20 years. The Sam Darnold thing is interesting. Like, so I think it was on this show, when I said something like that there was a very real chance that Darnold was going to be the starter week one, and I got a lot of pushback.
From
People there who were like, why would you discount?
In the building or like Niners fans?
In the building.
Okay.
Like, why would you discount Trey Lance? And I'm like, I get it. But, like, Trey Lance we have not seen, whatever Trey Lance is going to be, we have not seen it.
Unless we have. That's kind of the biggest worry, right? Is that this is really just the worst trade in the history of sports.
I still don't think there's enough. He didn't play enough last year. Like
We don't know.
It was in his first NFL game. It was in shitty weather, and then he broke his leg. Like,
Yeah, but he hasn't played in 6 years. It's like, how long is it going to take the guy to be good at football?
Why would they
again?
bring Darnold in if the front office or whoever you may be talking to over there thought that Trey Lance was going to be good to go for week one?
Yeah, wouldn't it be like kind of more?
Or they had confidence in him.
I was actually interested. So
he's healthy.
when I go through the draft, I basically call everyone in my phone, right? Literally everyone.
Sweet.
A lot of people don't answer me, which is it's all good. So everyone's own decision. But I was talking to a offensive coordinator whose team was looking for a quarterback, and he'd done all the quarterbacks.
Okay.
And he was like,
Bobby Slowick.
it was not Bobby Slowick. And he was like, Darnold probably looked as good last year for stretches as I've seen him.
Towards the end, he looks pretty decent.
Pretty good. So everyone, it seems everyone looks good in Kyle Shanahan's offense.
I was just going to say, it's the perfect situation for him now, too. With their running game, I mean, we reference it all the time.
He ran a little bit, too, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darnold started to run a little bit,
He
too.
can scoop, but in that offense, like, they could run the ball 50 times a game, or not a game, but there will be games where he doesn't have to win anything. Like he's got to deliver a couple balls inside a window, but it's not as if it's not like they have a defense that isn't going to keep them in games. They're the best defense in football. So it's like, hey, can you with George Kittle, Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey in the back, Elijah Mitchell.
Christ.
Like, can you just get us to the point where we're scoring three touchdowns, or we're scoring 21 points a game? Because if that's the case, we'll probably end up being the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about the first 3 games of last year in Carolina when Sam Darnold looked really good, and he had good offensive line, and Christian McCaffrey was healthy. And it's like what, it's like AJ was talking about. Devontae Adams is like a rookie, and it's like one of the hardest things for us who examine these guys on like a daily basis is being like, you know what? If I could just step back and say, okay, people develop whenever they develop. So like, I guess it is possible that Sam Darnold is still developing and maybe has gotten. He's only like 20.
He's 25 still.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
nuts.
draft is
Kenny
very
Pickett's also 25.
Yeah, it feels like Darnold's been in the league for 10
Hendon
years.
Hooker's 25.
That's so crazy.
How's Purdy doing? Do we have any updates on him?
That's it. Yeah, like if Purdy's
He's
the guy,
on schedule.
It sounds like he's doing fine, but the real problem is going to be like, let's say he's ready to throw for camp. Like if he's ready to throw for camp, like really go through practice, then I think we're good.
and he's the starter. No matter,
He's the starter.
he's their guy.
Right. That is the way it seems. The problem is going to be, what if he's like a couple games away?
Yeah.
Like you guys, like so then Darnold starts one game and then he wins. And then he starts a second game and then he wins. And it's like,
ride the hot hand.
it just creates, I feel like Kyle Shanahan's brain is going to explode with every year being asked a million quarterback questions, but like
They did to themselves.
Yeah, do we do Purdy or do we do Darnold? That's why.
Is Purdy scheduled to throw before camp at all? Like, is he on schedule? Can he at least throw lightly in June or July? Do we know?
Yeah, so he had surgery, in mid-February, right? I can't even remember.
Yeah.
No, I thought
Well,
it was
pushed
like
back.
March.
It says right here, this is a report from 4 days ago that Brock Purdy is a few weeks away from throwing.
So basically the way it's supposed to be is 3 months of nothing and then 3 months of throwing, which like that's a long ramp up, but it also takes you right to the start of the season.
Yeah,
Well, what if he has a wet
Sounds
noodle
like
when
he's
he
going to
comes
have,
back?
yeah, it could. But, or he could be like Hosengardner.
Yeah, sure.
Sounds like he's going to
Super
have
arm.
June, July,
What a great
and
movie that
August.
was.
Great movie.
Oh, so good.
To
So good.
where they can figure it out. Like if they'll have pretty much all training camp to see his arm to see if he's going to start pretty much.
Also with Trey Lance though, like if it comes down to either Darnold or Trey Lance, like at some point they have to play Trey Lance. Otherwise, like they have absolutely no trade value, and they're going to end up just it's like, oh, we traded away all these assets to have a guy who's going to be like our third string quarterback. Like, I mean, granted they're winning, so it doesn't matter. But like any other GM head coach in the league, like you're getting shit canned for that move.
And it feels like they're not going to play Trey Lance. I mean, it just doesn't feel as though he's going to be there.
They know what they have in Trey Lance, though. Like they obviously have an idea.
They have to.
Yeah, you guys have talked about it. You talked about Aaron in practice. People have talked about Mahomes in practice. Like you can tell in practice if a guy.
Well, I mean, think about for the Packers. Like Rodgers had the broken thumb, the Vosen fracture, whatever it was. So like Jordan Love got a lot of reps. Mm-hmm. Like I am sure that they have seen whatever it is he's going to be. So like,
which could be good, right? Because if they have, and then they're still okay with letting Rodgers go, like even when they were doing that whole, and Aaron talked about this, where it was like going into they told me take your time, do your thing, do your process. We'll let you have what you need. And he said he was 90-10 retiring and playing. They must have had some sort of thought like, hey, Jordan Love is going to be our guy. Whether he wants to play or not, we should just move on to Jordan Love.
Well, and I think they were even like almost a little bit excited about him because there was that point where it was right after the Eagles game and then the Packers won, however many games in a row to keep him in playoff contention. But they were seriously talking about sitting Rodgers and playing Love for the rest of the year just because it's like, hey, like this guy, like we believe in him. We kind of like what we've seen so far, and we just want to see more of him in like live game action. So like I don't think they would have done that if it's like, hey, Jordan Love's a bum. We can't throw this guy in the heat because he'll get exposed and then we'll look like idiots. And if we really do want to get rid of Rodgers, like the public backlash will be like, well, you can't get rid of this guy. Like the guy who's supposed to replace him isn't ready to replace him.
Yeah, I was like, of all the things that sometimes like you'll get a sense for when big news is going to happen. And of all the things I was like bracing myself for, it was that. It was like they lose a couple, and then it's like, are they going to play Jordan Love or not? Mm-hmm. What if he's good? Or, oh, God, what if he's not good? Because like at some point it's like you guys were saying about, it's like AJ was saying about Trey Lance, like at some point, like, got to play, and then we'll find out either yay or nay. And like that Jordan Love drama would have been like
juicy.
But clearly the Packers feel much better about Jordan Love than the Niners do about Trey Lance. Like that's got to be at least some sort of saving grace for Packers fans. Like, hey, they wouldn't just say because he's or I guess now that I'm about to say it, maybe they do just say this, hey, we drafted him, we need him to be the guy, so we're just going to put him in. But would they really just get rid of Rodgers and piss Rodgers off, right when he's about to retire, just so that they could play Jordan Love? I don't know. Maybe they would because they drafted him.
Not if they thought he was garbage. Not if they felt like he had no chance. Like they obviously have to feel this dude has something. We can find a way. His ceiling must be really high, and they like the progress he has made. We've heard him say that publicly, which obviously they should, and we don't know if I'm sure they do believe it, but if they thought he was garbage, I think this would have been a much different situation. Yeah. They thought this guy absolutely cannot be our quarterback.
It was interesting, too, because right after they got rid of Rodgers, it was LaFleur who was like, hey, we need to temper expectations on Jordan Love going into this year. Like, he's still a young guy, but then I think it was either yesterday or like two days ago, he did an interview and was just gushing about Jordan Love and about like how far he's come, how good he looks so far this year, how good he's looked in like the last couple weeks. So it seems like they have kind of done almost like a 180 on like going in. I think for a lot of Packers fans too, it was the same deal. Like it's tough because it's the Packers, and it's like 4-13 isn't an option. 5-12 isn't it?
Weren't they? AJ, I think you were on this team. Like Rodgers' first full year starting, they didn't make the playoffs.
7-9, I think.
6-10.
That's right. Yeah.
But Aaron played well. He really did. We gave up 1 billion points.